I mean, I thought this was in a place of organizers. Y'all gonna have to do a little bit better than that. I thought everything in Texas was bigger. Can I get a real hello? All right, so my name is Ayanna Pressley. I'm the Congresswoman representing the Massachusetts 7th Congressional District, first person of color, first black woman to represent the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the U.S. House of Representatives. Only took 230 years to break that concrete ceiling. And thank you. 230 years too long. Yeah. But the reason why that happened is because of the power movements, and I get it honest in my belief of the power movements. I grew up in an organizing household. My mother was a tenants' rights organizer, proud Democrat, super voter, took me with her to vote in every single election. She would turn to me when we would enter that booth, and she would say, Ayanna, never forget that we the people are powerful. And I believed her then, and I still do today. Organized power is realized power. Now, when I ran for Congress the first time 6 years ago, they really counted us out. They underestimated us, and they thought our matchup was very similar to Colin, to Allred and Cruz, sort of a David versus Goliath matchup, if you will. But people who underestimate Colin do so at their own peril. Did you see that flawless debate performance? Yes. Now, in my own race, they had us down in the polls a week out from Election Day by 13 points. On Election Day, we won by a decisive 18. And that is because you cannot poll transformation. Texas, if everything is really bigger here, do you believe that transformation is afoot here in Texas with the first coordinated campaign in 30 years? That speaks to the power of movements. Organized power is realized power, and we are on the precipice of doing great things in Texas, within this party, and for our nation. Now, I come here to Texas by way of battleground North Carolina, by way of Connecticut, by way of Massachusetts, and the reason why I've been barnstorming the country is because provided we do what we must in the next 8 days and dig deep and elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States of America, our 47th president, she's going to need partners. It is really important that we get that majority back in the House, that we increase our margins in the Senate so that President Harris, Madam President, can make good on those issues that are of deep consequence in this moment, from reproductive rights and freedom to voting rights to criminal legal reform and so much more. So this is why we need Colin. Now look, I've known Colin since the 116th. We came in as freshmen. He was my classmate. And when we came in, we had no idea. As the first class to come in the midst of a federal government shutdown under the former occupant of the White House, a government shutdown, 2 impeachments, an insurrection, a global pandemic, unrest domestically and abroad. These are deeply consequential times we never could have predicted. But I want to tell you something. In the midst of it all, Colin Allred has never forgotten the plot. He's never forgotten the plot, and the plot is the people. And the people of Texas deserve a senator who will never forget the people. Under this Republican majority, and I want to be clear, I will sit at the table and work with anyone in the name of progress if they center the people. But under this Republican majority in the House, they have proven that they govern, and I'm using that generously, with contempt, with callousness, cluelessness about the issues that matter most to the American people, and cowardice. And that's not only true for the Republican majority in the House, that is true for these extremist Republicans in the Senate, and that's what we see in Ted Cruz, cowardice. When the people of Texas needed him most, he turned tail and ran. Colin Allred has been resolute, he has been effective, he has had clarity, he has never forgotten you, the people, and he has fought for you like you're members of his own family. Because we are one family. We are one human family. And our freedoms and our destinies are tied. Texas, I think you deserve a senator that will never forget you and that will always fight for you. As you know, Colin was raised in a single-parented household, went on to the NFL, went on to Congress. He's now a loving husband, dedicated father of 2. So we need to, I'm going to ask you to do what happens in Texas, do big things. to elect Colin Allred to the United States Senate, and then, because as a woman of faith, I believe we serve an awesome God, I'm going to ask you to do two big things. And also elect Kamala Harris
Right.
as the President of the United States of America, and I'm going to tell you why as I close here, okay? You know, oftentimes organizers, activists,
Yes.
agitators,
Yes.
disruptors, we're so busy in doing the work of justice seeking that we can just focus on the inequities and the deficits and the disparities. But this election, this crossroads, is not just about stopping the 922-page far right-wing manifesto that is Project 2025 from becoming manifest. And by the way, that's not just a blueprint, that's a playbook. It's a playbook for harm for every person that calls this country home. These extremist Republicans have proven time and again that they don't make threats, they make promises. And they want to control every aspect of your life, from your womb to the bedroom to the classroom. They want to ban books, they want to ban bodies. But I want you, when you are making phone calls today, to not think just about what you want to stop, but what you want to advance. 2 days ago, we were in Greensboro, North Carolina at the Civil Rights Museum, paying homage to the 4 young brothers from North Carolina A&T that set into motion a national movement to desegregate lunch counters and places of public accommodation. And it reminded me that we are still in the civil rights movement. We're still in the civil rights movement. And so when I think about Dr. King and that speech on Washington, the March for Jobs and Freedom, for those of you that don't know the story, when he went there, he was supposed to give a different speech. But Mahalia was at his elbow and she said, Martin, tell them about the dream.
Right.
When you are making phone calls, when you're talking with the people you live with, you work with, you worship with in these next 8 days, when you are knocking doors, I don't want you to think about just what we want to stop. I want you to think about what we want to advance. I want you to give yourself permission to radically dream. Every movement needs 3 things: imagination, strategy, and stamina. Now, this campaign has had the strategy and the stamina because Ted Cruz is on his heels, right? He is in striking distance because of the strength of this movement. But do you have the imagination to allow yourself to radically dream of a Harris-Walz administration, of Colin Allred as your senator, of Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House, where we can dare to dream of a world where black men get to grow old, where pursuing higher education does not mean a lifetime of debt, where you can radically dream that you can actually purchase a home in the community that raised you, or that you can age in community with grace and dignity, where you can be a woman and give birth and do it safely, and it is a right and not a privilege, where every child has a future. I believe that that world is possible. Do y'all believe?
Yes.
Do you have the imagination?
Oh, yes.
Give yourself permission to radically dream and to make that dream become manifest. Because when people ask me, what is the Democrats' response to Project 2025? It's you. You are the firewall. I want you to think about the people in your family, by blood or by bond, that you love. Just think about them. Hold them in your heart right now. Is there somebody that you would be willing to inconvenience yourself for? That you would be willing to run through a wall to make sure they're okay and they have what they need? That's how people need to run to these polls.
Yes. Yes.
Because we are one human family and our freedoms and our destinies are tied. And when people will say to me, Congresswoman, respectfully, they just said this to me over at the Breakfast Club in Houston at the restaurant. I don't do politics. I said, well, baby, if you don't do politics, best of believe politics will do you. In big and small ways, each and every day, because who you vote for determines who's elected determines the policies determine who lives, who dies, who survives, who thrives. So another world is possible. I believe in the power of hope. I believe in the power of organizing. I believe in the power of us. So we're at a critical inflection point as a country. So I thank you all. You could have been anywhere else but here. But the intention with which you arrive at this moment is a testament to each and every one of you. You're defenders of democracy. You're patriots. You care about yourself. You care about your neighbors. You care about your community. You care about our democracy. And it is all on the line. So I thank you all so much for having me here, Texas. I'm happy to be here. tired. You've been at this for a while, and you've been very effective. That's why, you know, Ted Cruz is on his heels, okay?
Yes.
You know, I believe that we can win this. So some of y'all maybe haven't showered for a couple of days. Maybe been wearing the same clothes for a while. Maybe haven't seen a green vegetable in months. But I can assure you that it will all be worth it. And the reason why I came here today, and I could inconvenience myself to come here just to be with you in this moment, is because I care about you. And I'm willing to run through a wall into the polls to make sure that you're okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.